BBC News with Sue Montgomery. The Sudanese security forces have fired live rounds and tear gas at large crowds of pro-democracy protesters in the capital Khartoum and in nearby Omdurman. Dua Tariq, a Sudanese activist who took part in today's protests, spoke to the BBC.
In Khartoum, I've seen tens of thousands of people on the streets. The protests were very peaceful and the chantings and demands were very clear. But at the end of the day, we were met with massive amounts of tear gas by the police and then live gunshots from this joint force, the army and RSF forces. We have around 100 or 110 people injured. Among them, there is 17 gunshots and 3 people were dead in Omdurman.
The Interior Ministry denied that live rounds had been fired. The protesters had gathered to denounce Monday's military coup. The leaders of the United States, Germany, France and Britain have urged the Iranian president to seize the opportunity opened up by Washington's possible return to the 2015 nuclear deal and get back to the negotiating table. In a joint statement issued after diplomats met on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Rome, the 4 countries called on President Ibrahim Raisi to act in good faith in order to prevent a dangerous escalation. The US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has told the G20 summit that its endorsement of a global minimum tax for corporations will remake the global economy into a more prosperous place for American business and workers. Mario Draghi, the Prime Minister of Italy, which is hosting the summit, told members that such cooperation was the way forward.
The more we go with all our challenges, the more it is clear that multilateralism is the best answer to the problems we face today. In many ways, it's the only possible answer. From the pandemic to climate change to fair and equitable taxation, going it alone, it's simply not an option. We must do all we can to overcome our differences.
The UAE has become the latest Gulf state to withdraw its embassy team from Beirut. This was in solidarity with Saudi Arabia, which on Friday expelled Lebanon's ambassador and banned all Lebanese imports. Here's Tom Bateman.
The standoff has been brewing for months. The latest trigger involved a Lebanese minister before he entered government, appearing to label Saudi Arabia as aggressors in the war in Yemen. The Saudis and the other Gulf countries want him to resign in order to restore ties. At the heart of their anger is the dominant influence in Lebanon of Hezbollah, the heavily armed Shia movement backed by Iran, which the Gulf countries see as a threat.
World News from the BBC. The White House says the US and the European Union have reached an agreement to settle a dispute over tariffs on steel and aluminium imports. US officials said that under the deal, taxes introduced during the Trump administration would not be removed completely, but a quantity of EU steel and aluminium would be permitted to enter the US without tariffs. The military in Mali says 7 soldiers have been killed in 2 separate attacks. 5 soldiers were killed when their pickup truck hit a roadside bomb in central Mali. At least 2 soldiers died in an attack in the southwest, which also left 3 wounded. 2 wedding guests have been shot dead by armed men in Nangarhar in eastern Afghanistan. 10 others, including children, were injured. Witnesses say the gunmen objected to the fact music was being played at the ceremony on Friday evening, and after an altercation with the family about it, they opened fire. The identity of the armed men isn't clear. Amnesty International has closed its office in Hong Kong. The rights group announced the move earlier this week, citing uncertainty under Hong Kong's new security law imposed by Beijing more than a year ago. The Chinese authorities have not commented on the matter. Martin Yip reports from Hong Kong.
It was rather unceremonious. Just after midnight local time on Sunday, Amnesty International's Hong Kong team ceased to exist, ending nearly 40 years of work. The group said it was leaving Hong Kong after having seen some 30 civil society groups disband under the threat of the national security law. Carrie Lam, the city's leader, has said there was no way to prove Amnesty's claim. Her security bureau said the claim was not true, insisting the law respected human rights and freedom of speech.
BBC News.